New tonight, we're now approaching the 15th anniversary of the miracle on the Hudson. That's when in 2009, Captain Chelsea Sullenberger, known as Sully, landed his Airbus A320 on the Hudson River after the plane hit a flock of birds just shortly after takeoff. 155 passengers were on board. All survived. That plane had left New York and was headed for Charlotte, and now a new museum dedicated to that incredible moment is set to open in Charlotte. We sat down with the museum's vice president, Katie Swearingen, to learn more. Ms. Swearingen, thank you so much for joining us. It's hard to believe it's been 15 years since the miracle on the Hudson. I think ultimately, from your position, what do you immediately think of when you enter into that museum, when you see that plane, when you think about what took place that day there on the Hudson? What automatically comes to mind first and foremost?
Well, for me, for someone who is working behind the scenes, taking care of the collection and has been taking care of that aircraft since it became part of our collection in 2011, it's sort of two sides. It's one really tied to our mission of what a testament to aviation safety and what a great way to talk about the industry and all of the different types of careers and people that work in it to make aviation so safe, and that went into that event that day with making that such a successful outcome. But then there's the other side of it, which is really the humanity of it. And that's thinking about those 155 people that were on that flight who survived, who were able to come back to their families and have 15 more years of life and experiences. And I think that's the part that's so captivating to me, to visitors that come into the museum, and it's really what makes it special.
You mentioned that aspect with the passengers. You've been able to visit with some of them. It's interesting, we were reading that so many of them see it as a second shot of life. But when they think about and reflect about that day, do they feel a sense of debt to Sully, and how do they process that?
Well, I think they all process it differently. Having worked with so many of the passengers over the years, and the museum has great relationships with a lot of them. A lot of them are local and worked in Charlotte and still live in Charlotte today. They all have a different story of what happened that day. And, I think they're all very, very grateful for Captain Sullenberger and for the crew that day. They certainly did their jobs very well.
What is it like to have something like this connected to the Carolinas, where that flight, it was international news, became to a major movie, and to have this connected to the Carolinas, specifically Charlotte there? What is that like to have that connection?
It's absolutely so special to be able to really, at the time when we acquired this artifact, we were really a small organization. So to be able to really work to bring this aircraft to Charlotte where it was destined, it's a really special artifact. And I can't wait for the community for us to open our doors in summer of 2024 and to bring the community back in, for them to be able to experience this real testament to aviation safety, and a testament to 155 different stories.
Being here in the upstate, a lot of people may be leaving here to go see that museum once you open again. You mentioned summer of 2024. What can people expect as they walk in through those doors?
I am incredibly excited to be part of the team that is working on up-leveling all of our exhibition content. So we will have a much larger experience than the experience that we had prior to closing down in 2019. There'll really be a focus on three thematic areas: Aviation City, Innovation Nation, and Aviation Society. Aviation City is really focusing on Charlotte and Charlotte's connection to Aviation City, the growth of the airport over the years, and really telling that story, and doing it with a very historic artifact, the 1936 hangar that the airport will be renovating. And then we will be using that space to feature Aviation City. Aviation Society is all about people. It's all about who works in this industry and telling their stories. My team has been collecting oral history interviews with folks who work in the industry in the Carolinas. We'll be able to feature those for visitors to hear, become inspired, and maybe follow a similar path. And then Innovation Nation is, of course, a testament to the technological development in aviation over such a short history. We will have flight simulators for visitors to experience, a great makerspace, classrooms, interactive exhibits, and of course, just all of the wonderful stories behind our entire collection of military, civil, and commercial aircraft.
All right, and that would be opening summer of 2024. Quite the location there for Charlotte, and an exciting time to be able to reflect on this huge moment in American history. So, Ms. Swearingen, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.